Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Tova Feldheim, the founder and CEO of York Effect, a boutique consulting firm that empowers executives and organizations to create meaningful, measurable impact through strategy, leadership development, and cultural transformation. Tova brings over 20 years of leadership experience across FinTech, enterprise software, and startups environments, and has served in C-suite roles for various different companies. Her mission through York Effect is to help leaders catalyze internal transformation that drives scalable external results.
Yeah. I mean, our end of the day goal, really, to keep it very simple, is helping leaders get paying customers. And that's really our mission. It's how do you understand who your audience is, who is going to be buying from you, and how do you speak to them? And that's really where it's stop spending money you don't have and really dig into who am I actually talking to and informs that they connect and then they convert. And
I
that's
love
really
that.
what we're doing. Yeah.
It's powerful. So take us on a little trip down memory lane to before you started York Effect.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that? And what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have over 2 decades of working in a user and customer experience capacity. I've been in the tech space for a long time, and a lot has changed over time. And the different roles I have were always regarded to the user. How do humans engage with digital experiences? So I ran a global support ticketing system, a three-tier global help desk, a call center. I onboarded many different teams, new products. And over the course of the work that I've done, I've learned three things. So I got a chance to sit between a product and a sales team, and I got to be able to hear what people are saying, but I also got to see what they were doing. And what I
Mm.
was able to learn was how do I translate what someone's actually saying? And it's not that they're speaking like not they're not speaking the truth, but it's their truth. And how do I understand what their truth is? And when you do this long enough times, when you're seeing hundreds of tickets come in, you start to figure out how to read between the lines. You start being able to predict behavior and you start getting to understand what people are going to and not. And you start realizing what things are going to be a problem. And then when you get to know intention behind behavior, you're really getting to understand the entire user from their workflow. So what are they doing on their day-to-day? Who are the stakeholders that they're engaging with? What other tools outside your product that they're working with? And really getting to understand why at certain points, certain people will have pain points and why some products will work well for others.
Mm.
And one of the hardest things for me in this role that I was building in a career in was I was getting frustrated in my career because I was working with a customer post sale. So I had no control of who the customer was. And then I didn't have control over what the product was going to do. And
Mm.
that was a very hard space for me to be in. And as I was building my career and I owned a book of business that I was responsible for churn, I was limited in what I could do and actually delivering the value that I could put because I had limitations in my role. And
Yeah.
that's really when I started all this experience that I have, I could really help and let's go to the beginning. So then I took a leap and went to the early stage. I went to pre-revenue. And that's when I realized that was too early. The reason what there is, they're still figuring out who they are. They're not working with customers. So that wasn't the right space. And then I started working with seed stage companies. And that's where I met my partner, my co-founder. And what we learned and realized she comes from a design background. So she's looking at visualization and imaging and design because so much information is hitting people's eyes, whether it's words or images. And how do people translate that into forms they remember and that they identify with? And we
Yeah.
realized the work that we do together at this stage is really very crucial and they work in tandem with each other. And we realized that at this particular client, how much greater we were able to see success when we worked together. And that's where York Effect was born. And we
Yeah.
look at it, customer discovery meets brand, or we look at it as human engagement meets digital experiences. But it's really this Venn diagram. And when those overlaps, there's a space where that's where the real magic happens. And that's what the York Effect is about.
I love that. Thank you so much for breaking that down. It really gives us a holistic understanding of what you were doing before, the evolution over time. So it sounds like you started off trying to target pre-seed or sorry, pre-revenue companies.
Yeah.
Walk us through today. Who would you say is your ideal customer, and what are the core offerings that you provide at York Effect?
Yeah, so we're seeing where we could help in two places. We're helping a lot of early stage founders with the focus in distilling. And the work we do is the same work, regardless of what stage. It's really we extract what information, we extract beliefs, we extract the values. A lot of times, a founder or anyone has a lot of ideas. They're coming with this life of experiences that they've had engaged in, encountered, learned from. And
Yeah.
now they're trying to build and create something, and they have all these ideas that are overflowing and overwhelming. But you have to start from someplace. And where do you start from? And also with limitations in times and resources, where are you going to be the most impactful? So we little sprints with that early stage founder of really distilling their value. Really, this is setting their foundation. This is their why and helping them really get clear because it's like, I know all these things, but how do I now translate it? There's always a gap in all the things that I know and feel into formats that people now can connect with, they understand, and they resonate with. So we do a lot of work with that ideation phase where people have these ideas where they're trying to get clarity of the product that they're trying to offer and really take away all the noise and get so focused on what this mission, this vision, those deep core values are, because that's really going to be their foundation of where they're starting from. And then they're going to build off of that. We're also seeing a lot of success with the entrepreneur that is at the place where I have my product ready. I have MVP. I see some success or I have users. I know what I'm doing works, but I want to now move to paying customers. So it's that last step between 0 to 1. So we
Mm.
help the 0 stage and that last step of 0 to 1. I think the in between stage is really for the entrepreneur, the founder, the team to go through learned lessons. I think it's very important for them to go through and seeing what I believe to be true to validate. A lot of times you have to see things for yourself to
Yeah.
understand. I think that's super important, especially when you're building something from the ground up. And that's really where we come in. And again, we're not trying to take away someone's voice. We want to just help drive them on that path. What's that sustainable path to traction or to revenue?
Got it. Got it. That makes perfect sense. So you mentioned earlier that you help leaders get paying customers. And right now with the core offering, it's a lot of, or you help them with the ideation phase, but it also sounds like with implementation of the strategy to get more paying customers, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah,
Can you break down for us what does a typical client engagement look like
yes,
once
yeah.
we start
So
working together?
most marketing and sales consulting agencies work on this retainer base. We work on a sprint. We're very intentional and we want to get to an engagement. We look at our sprints, we have them in 4 different sections. We call one is the genesis, that's that early stage in the beginning. Then we have what we call our signs. We want to look for signs in the market. Then we look at signals and then we look at inputs. So if we look at that journey from 0 to 1, there's going to be different milestones where you're going to take your idea, you're going to validate it with the market, then you're going to build. And then you're going to go build something and then you can go back to the validating in the market. So we're working with the founders throughout these different milestones of their journey. And the goal is really to get them on this path. We want them to empower them to do it for themselves. We want to empower them to have the language to be able to speak. No one tells your story better than yourself. And that's not our job. Our job is to really help you get to where you need to go to that next stage, to that next phase. So instead of doing the retainer model, we work off of a sprint. And a usual sprint is going to run between 4 to 8 weeks, where we're going to have very intentional weekly activities. And then they have outcomes as a result of it. And really, we're going to have it based on building this foundation. So in the beginning, we're looking at your mission, your vision, your core value, who's your TAM. Then we're going to move from there to say, okay, within that, where do we get really ICP readiness? Who's really giving us signals? And also in that stage, it's, of course, you could have everyone as your customer, but in terms of what's your quickest path to revenue? What are you going to sell in terms of a value that's rinse and repeatable to a target audience? Because again, we have to think about your limitations. We can't do everything in a given moment. So what can we do that's going to get us to where we need to go? And that's what we're focusing on. So when we talk about this path to revenue, this path to paying customers, it's with the intention understanding of what resources do I have? What
Mhm.
timelines do I have? What values can I deliver? What are my costs to acquire? What are my costs to service? And who are those customers that fit in them? And in these sprints, we're going to explore that with the team, the founding team, or the owner, the entrepreneur, to say, okay, for you specifically, where you are today, let's, workshop out who is that right now customer for you today.
Got
And then how do you build off of that success?
got it. And that's during the 4 to 8 week sprints.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's shift a little bit to the back end of the business. When it comes to customer acquisition and client acquisition for York Effect
Yep.
specifically, when you're looking to bring on more clients, what does that process currently look like? What are you doing on that front?
So we practice what we preach, and it's all about finding the right language to the right audience. So we have actually, I volunteer on two early stage communities where I get to speak to founders daily and hear from them all the time. And I ask them a lot of questions and understand them. And we spend a lot of time talking to actual people rooted in real conversations and real learnings. So what we have done over the course of the time is really get to hear from them where their biggest frustrations, where do they get stuck, where are their from their perspective, not my perspective, where they feel. And a lot of it comes down to they feel like they're spending monies they don't have on these marketing budgets. So we've created language and created content that speaks to them of that. So what we've done and our kind of sale process is we've partnered with community leaders in the ecosystem to tap into their audiences where we create and deliver content for free. We'll do a webinar, we'll do an in-person event, we'll talk about a specific topic that we know we've gotten a lot of interest for that stage founder, and that's going to be our lead generator for us. So what we've done is we've hosted 4 different webinars, one in person, and we continuously want to give back to the community as well. We want to create education. So for those who are founder curious or at the beginning or unsure, we're happy. We want, at the end of the day, we want people to win. If there's a way we can provide insights or help people out, we're more than happy to do that. We also want to create value into the community. And we want to have conversations of things that what people are thinking about, and we'll create conversations around that. So we'll have a webinar and we'll have partners with the different communities in the ecosystem, reach out to their audiences, and that's really where we inbound for ourselves.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I completely agree with the idea of giving as much value as you can. I love the quote of give the strategy and sell the implementation. I'm curious your perspective on this because I have a lot of consultants that listen to this,
Yep.
and building a predictable lead generation machine is very important, especially for a consultant. So when you think of that and you think about building more predictability and consistency when it comes to lead flow, what is your thought process and what is your approach there?
Yeah. So everything that we want to do is rooted in validation and having real conversations. And that's really how our sprints are designed because they're building through that. And the way we want to do it is once I know who I'm talking to and I know what I'm saying and I know that it works, that's when I start looking at AI inputs. And that's what our inputs sprint is all about. And it's really ensuring that once I have clarity that I know this lands, this speaks to this audience, I know who that ICP is, that's when we start looking at these lead generated engines. What are the words that are going to use to bring these people in? What is the value I need to give them to make them say, this person understands me and I know what I'm getting from them, and this is exactly what I need. And that's when we're saying, okay, now use AI for speed, for reach, for scale, and for personalization. But garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to do those things. And that's
Yeah,
how we look at it. I
yeah,
was going, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, no, it's all good. It sounds like you have a lot of focus on the copy and the messaging and how you're communicating the pain points to the customer, which I think is critically important. I'm curious because right now you're doing the partnerships and the webinars. Have you thought about exploring other strategies like paid ads, cold outreach? Is that something that you have in plans in the future?
So we're just two people and we're very hands-on. This so we're in our what we call our sign out part
Got it.
where we know we have product market fit. I love the philosophy. There's a few philosophies that we work off of. And I don't know if you've heard of the 5 1s.
No.
So the 5 1s is for the 1 year, like once you have product market fit, it's like what they believe into 5 actions to do. So it's one market, one channel, one audience, and this is what you focus on for 1 year in order to get your sustainable path to revenue. So for us, we're not ready to scale at this point because
Got
we
it.
really want to test and really figure out for ourselves what is that rinse and repeatable throughout, no matter who you are, no matter what type of business, we're going to see consistently the same things over. And this is really also the foundation of what we're trying to build, because our big idea is really once we understand that and have validation and seen consistently, we want to productize this into a digital experience.
Got it. So you're thinking of building a scalable fulfillment model, and then from there, that's your foundation. You can build the skyscraper at that point. Got it.
Exactly. And I think in today's day and age, and again, this only comes from over 20 years of doing this over and over again, both my partner and I, and being very hands-on and being able to see it. And we still believe we still have to test it today, especially as times are changing and the world we're living is continuously changing. And we want to see we look for patterns, right, in the segments. And how do we now see what keeps coming out throughout? It may not, we don't know, but this is where we're at, where we want
Yeah,
what we believe to be true, but we're actually doing it ourselves now. And that's really where we're at because we know from what we've done and we've seen that works. And now we're proving that out.
got it. Walk me through your vision. When you project yourself, let's say 12 months into the future, time travel in a sense, and you could say, okay, York Effect is at this point, revenue, performance targets, the goals that you want to hit. What does that vision look like? Paint me that picture.
Yeah. So again, my partner and I, we've also come from a very interesting workforce and workplace that's different today. We worked really hard. We worked at leadership teams. And at the end of the day, we were in roles in these companies where we didn't have agency over our success. And we didn't matter how hard we worked, it didn't matter how much work we did, or even if we were successful. At the end of the day, they were determined our success by other people's, and we wanted to have agency and control. We both have families, and for us is we want to be able to live a lifestyle that we get to enjoy our families and the work that we do. So we're not really necessarily looking at this. I need 10,000 customers. We want to be able to have this ability for ourselves to grow into being able to take what we know to be true, have that proven out, and being able to offer this to a world that we believe needs it. I think human interaction, human engagement is becoming more challenging these days. And our vision is really that we see a world where there's so many amazing people doing so many amazing things. And in order to do so, they also need to have certain skill sets and upskill. And if we're able to provide that to them, they can win too. And it's really about building these deepening relationships, really understanding how human beings engage. We live in a hybrid world where you have human interaction, but then these digital experiences. And you can't be all digital or human. There's this intersect, and it's going to be different for each person. And I think it's really important that we understand how that works. For us, when we only just think of ourselves, we don't think about people around us or what they're going through. We lose so much, and so much opportunity is wasted and it's gone. And we're really trying to change that. And it's really this idea and philosophy we're really trying to bring of a better world, a better place that we could be a part of and help grow as we're intended. As humans, we're made to connect. That's what we're here for. And how do we do that in a digital experience?
That's beautiful. That's very well said.
Thank
What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn. So Tova Feldheim, my partner Caroline, York Effect. We're all on LinkedIn. We're also on X, and then we also have our website. We love talking to people. For us, we're happy to talk to anyone about anything. You could book a virtual coffee with us. You'll get time with me, and it's really exploratory. We want to hear from people. At the end of the day, we are better at what we do, and we give value when we hear and understand what people think and feel, and that's so important. And that's crucial to our existence, our business, our value, and we live by that. And that's really where we are at this day. We're always happy to get on the phone. We're always happy to meet in person. If there's a way, and we like to give back to where we take from. And that's really a real part of our value and our philosophy of who we are. And that we're always happy to have conversations, shoot ideas, or we've seen a lot. So we're happy to
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, 100%. I love that so much. Any final words before we wrap up?
No, at the end of the day, I just want to encourage everyone to go talk to people. There's so much value in those conversations. And when I say talk to people, ask a question where they feel safe and comfortable to answer. And that's when you're able to listen. When you're hearing what they're saying, and we all come with different viewpoints and different perspectives. But just one day I told myself, you know what? Today is a listening day for me. I'm going to say hello and I'm just going to listen. And so much opportunity comes from that. And that's so important to have the conversations. We all get caught in our heads and we like psych ourselves out. And it could be so simple and it could be empowering when you allow for the opportunity for these conversations to be had. So that's my encouragement to everyone. Just, you know what? Have the conversation. Just introduce yourself. It's unlimited what can happen.
Tova, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so nice speaking with you.
Yeah, you too. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to reach out to Tova. We're going to link all of that stuff around here. It's going to be fairly easy. Have a virtual coffee with her. And if you are a business owner and you're looking to really scale your business and enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.